Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would do another update here on the Star Trek ship I've been working on for a bit, and I've really been hitting it the last couple days. What you're seeing now is the version I showed last video. So there's a lot of undone things and stuff like that on this one, and I wanted to do a couple procedures to the ship before I started getting into the interior more than what I did. I just in this one I just had a little section in the like when you come in from the landing pad done up. I'll show you all the new interior places and stuff on a newer model here. I just want to explain a couple things before I get there. So a couple of issues I had with this current version, or things that I thought I could do to improve upon it a little bit. Um, One is a bit of weight reduction, and I wanted to take these arms back here, nacelle arms that were made of hardened steel, and I wanted to convert those over to carbon substrate. So I did do that on the newer version, but my method of doing it was a little weird. I didn't want to rebuild the arms, so I ended up using the N key copy paste tool, and I basically copied it from like this section all the way down as low as I could go across this block row here, and then on the other side. And I copied that, and then you remove the selection, and then I spawn in like another CV starter block, and then you have to highlight that once with the N key, like a selection tool. So I did that, and I took those parts I copied over here, which are all discolored over here, and then I ran a process on them to change the material. So I went through all the steps and converted like every single block here in just this to carbon substrate. I think I deleted some over here for I don't even know why, but anyway. And then I pasted it back onto the ship. So that was one of the things. Let's go up to the next. I got like more revisions here. So this is a newer one. Now something else changed on here besides the carbon substrate. There is, if you take a look at the saucer portion of the ship here, it looks like this here. It doesn't look much different on the new one, but it is a little different. It's a little bit bigger. I did a scaling factor thing on it again, where it's basically it's 2 blocks wider and 2 blocks longer than the previous version. And I've been using this kind of weird method. It seems to work pretty good, but it's a little tricky of cutting and pasting parts of it and like widening things up a little bit, and then resplicing in the blocks in the middle, so I can basically create almost identical looks. You can notice a couple little differences though, like if you look at like the alignment of where this lines up here, you can kind of see it's like offset by a block from the other structure in front of it. On the new one, it's not. So that was dialed in a little bit better. I found one other place I thought red stripes were appropriate, and that's across here because it kind of lines up to the other print there. So I didn't mind that. I didn't add any other more red stripes to it, at least on the exterior of the ship. I tried a couple things, and every time it's like I feel like I probably got enough. I got enough. I got a little tag marker back there, a little bit of stuff on the top of the saucer, just a little something down on the main section of the ship. Beyond that, too, I did a little bit more detailing. Oh, I got a problem here, though. I see that I missed a block thing, and part of this copying and pasting, you got to replace all these blocks, and it looks like I missed one there. But I had to also retexture this again because the copying like big chunks of it, like I sliced it kind of down center because I wanted to get more of the larger area copied as opposed to the skinnier areas on the side. So I was working on that a little bit. So now on the interior, do I got my light on? I do have my light on. Let me turn that off again. So now on interior portions. Now something I did, of course, it has a little bit bigger saucer, which is going to be kind of neat because it's not that much bigger and it's hardly noticeable. And I don't think, proportionally speaking, I think it's actually a little bit more correct than what it was prior. I didn't want to go overboard with it, but it's a little, it's just a smidgen wider. a smidgen longer, but if you take a look at like all the views and stuff like that, um, you know, these ships tend to have pretty big saucers, and I was kind of looking even at the iconic one from the original TV series, that you know the saucer goes further in width past where the nacelles do. Some more than others, of course, but it depends. So yeah, I kind of feel happy about my saucer change there, and then of course. Um, in the end of the day, I found optimizations like with the other parts back here, and I filled in some blocks that were empty there. So, you know, I came out to about the same size class after making this a little bit bigger, and actually, it's not really. It actually lost weight. There's other reasons for that though. I physically had to add more blocks to make the saucer a little bit bigger, but it's so close. And I did some little detailing things in miscellaneous places on the hull. Sometimes just a little doodad, something or other, or a decal or something. But been working on that. So I'll start with the area that I did show last time, but it wasn't done. Um, so basically, this room over here, this room, this back area of the room wasn't finished off. I had very little I could do with blocks. If you look at what's right above there, there's a retractable turret plus all these indentations in it, and yeah, I couldn't raise the ceiling or anything. So I just kind of detailed around it. I didn't do much changes in this section here. Um, Except, okay, so now let's go tour some new areas. I got several new rooms. Now, I avoided going up to the saucer. My intent was to see in some of these other weirder pockets, small little areas of the ship, if I could dump some parts so I wouldn't have to put them in the saucer. And that was kind of my goal. That's why I didn't want to start with the saucer first. I wanted to see what I could get elsewhere. So over here, we've got obviously one of these shield parts in this room over here. And kind of see the decor that I'm trying to go for. I'm trying to create a little bit different look than what I had before. Um, and yeah, I'm kind of working it out, but I sort of kind of like this. It's fitting. I'm just not sure. I might have a little bit too much of this kind of reddish orangish color. It's kind of a mix between both. I know one comment is like if I'm colorblind or something like that, and sometimes I'll, but man, they're close. You could, to me, it looks a little bit too red to be necessarily orange, but I don't know. It's whatever. But yeah, I do actually see colors good. Everything else, not so much. But yeah, color's pretty good. So we've got a couple sealed parts on these side rooms over here, and yeah, these rooms end here. Take reference of that on the newer version. Um, and you know what? The rest of the stuff I'll just show on the new ship, or the latest version, I should say. All that's pretty much the same. And I did not mess with the saucer size anymore, so I'm gonna call it good there. No more increasing the saucer size. This time it was a fair amount of work because it was already textured and things, and it took several hours to do the whole process of kind of rebuilding the saucer. But yeah, at the end of the day, it really, man, it's really hard to tell the difference. I mean, if you look at that one versus this one, it's hardly noticeable, but it did gain a little bit more space. Okay, so now with some other some new areas in the ship. To start with, I really like to get these hangar things out of the way. So this is what I got going on right now for the hangar. And I'm trying to change my style a little bit. Of course, it looks a little bit humanish, but I'm trying to be kind of smooth. I'm not using as many textury thingies, I guess you could say. I'm trying to always try to keep a kind of a smooth curves if I can in places, and try to get the right amount of detail in there without going overboard, to make it look gritty and stuff like that. And then I kind of, yeah, I decided to go pretty round on the front of the hangar too. So this is kind of a lot of curvy blocks and well, angled wedge blocks. Doesn't have a huge amount of function in the hangar. It does have a repair bay, a couple boxes, but there's no storage controllers or constructors. I opted out to put in a medical bay here too. It'll have a full medical bay, but coming into here, you do have a couple of basics. You know, you got health and O2 if you need a fix your broken leg, you might have to go elsewhere in the ship, I think. Would be that, because there's other points of entry too, and I didn't want to try to stack full medical bays by every point of entry. I had a lot of fun with the flooring here. It's barely noticeable, but there's a lot of junk under the floor, and this is just kind of an illusion. You don't actually get down here. There's not space down here, but it's just stuff. I put purposely below the floor so you could just see it through some grates on the top of the floor. I just thought it was kind of a thing that yeah, had a little detail. I had a little extra block space down there anyway, so it worked out good. I needed a level floor, so why not, right? So that's that. Let's go. Now this area is unfinished. It's a little bit more expanded upon. In fact, there's another big modification that I ran into, and I'll cover that here in a minute. It's not one I'm particularly happy about, but I'll explain the whole situation. It's one of the most complicated problems I had to figure out what to do with, and I tried a lot of different options. Anyway, so this area has to be done up, yeah, and in here is also going to be some more shield parts, and I want to find a nice, neat way somehow in this region, which I have room, and it kind of goes up a ways here too. And yes, I have to make sense of all this chaos that's in here. But you know, there's some other rooms I'm going to show you that were just as chaotic, and they ended up pretty good in the end by changing and swapping out blocks and things like that. So on the very front of the ship, this is your entry bay room. And again, it's got like a O2 and a med bay here. I think I got an armor locker, and thought I had a fridge. Oh yeah, right there. So yeah, just some stuff, and this basically gets you out the front ramp of the ship here. Just wanted to get that area done up. Not that there's much going on in here. So let's go up to another new room. This next new room I'm pretty happy with. Now don't mind a lot of this stuff. It's all temporary. The core is not going to be there, and stuff like that. This is just unfinished. This is God, where does this go? Oh yeah, this gets up to this weird hatch over here. There's just this kind of hidden away. Well, when that decides to close again, just this little hidden away place to get out of the ship from this location. I'm not sure why it's there. I don't think it necessarily needs to be there, but why not? It's already there. It works. So going up a little bit more. Now this room is really new. And this is holding obviously a lot of shield parts. And this was a really messed up area. I got some xenoblocks running through here and stuff like that. And it was, I really try to tweak this out. I've been trying to, with this build, rather than like kind of doing the base level room, I'm trying to go through and like kind of like do it from start to finish. I even added sensors and stuff in here. I haven't done any LCDs yet, but that'll be a separate project, I guess. But that's kind of what this is looking like. And I've got 4 more of these shield parts. Now, obviously, well, I didn't know it at the time when I made the last video, but yeah, you can have 4 each of these types of parts, which is shield chargers or banks. And basically, I'm trying to like run max of 4 each in this ship is my goal. And you know what's pretty nice about all this with the 4 I got down in the hangar. The 2 that have the rooms run and 2 that are unfinished, plus the 4 here. Well, I no longer need to put any of these in the saucer, which is why I wanted to start with all these other rooms first. If I could find a way to get other parts somewhere else in the ship, then I would have more room in the saucer. And I wanted more room in the saucer, so that's kind of why I did this. Now, as of that's the last of my finished off rooms. Now, I lost many hours trying to figure out a puzzle. And here, I got to go back to the last ship to show you what the problem was. I fixed it on this ship, but again, I can't say I'm 100% happy with the results. One other last weird little thing I did is I set up the sensors for the lights in these rooms to, if you're within 2 blocks of the windows, it will light up the room on the inside. And I did it on purpose in case you're flying by outside and wanted to look in a window. Only reason. Okay, so big fundamental problem I had with this ship, and it was really, it's a really a mind boggler, and I try to think about every different avenue I could to fix the problem I had. And let me explain. Okay, if you take a look at where all these artillery launchers are, and then the launchers up above it as well, um, and then you proceed into the ship and you take a look at where the elevator, which needs to be in this location. Otherwise, you got to divide the elevator up into two different elevators and like shift it over. And I didn't want to do that either. So this elevator goes straight up to the saucer, all the way down to the hangar in the front loading bay. But yeah, lo and behold, here's some big old launchers right on the side of the elevator that, guess what? I can't seal. I can't seal the only elevator, the main connection point through the entire ship. I had no way to seal the oxygen off in here, and not to mention these are kind of close, and that's kind of dangerous. So it's driving me nuts. Now, if blast doors did actually were actually airtight, as I feel they absolutely should be, I can't imagine any blast door that's not airtight. That would kind of defeat the big part of what a blast door is about. But in this game, they're not. So I can't put anything in front of here to seal it off. Even if I wanted to put a force field, it would block the launcher. So I would have to put like louvered doors in its place to fix that. But then I got the fundamental problem of these launchers, not just one, but 6 launchers. The ones up top here too, the inner ones on the top and the ones all the way down here, all touch that elevator, or all pass right by the elevator running in. So I try to think of everything I could have to fix the problem. One, I was like, well, can I move the elevator? And how many blocks would I have to move the elevator out? It turns out the elevators, I mean, already kind of almost in the very back of this saucer area. And I would have had to move it out by 3 blocks to avoid those launchers. So that the elevator would have been like clear out of the ship, like over in this region here. And then how is that going to work? That would totally screw up the whole thing here. I would have to rebuild this and thicken it all up and do some crazy stuff. Well, that was one idea. So I ruled that one out. I was like, no, I do not want to change the shape of the ship that badly. Another option was, well, maybe I can move the launchers forward out of the way but I would have to move them again, at least I think came out to 3 blocks forward. Well, there's not enough room to really, well, I guess there is, technically there is, but or 2 blocks forward, I think. So I'd have to put the launchers starting here and then wall this off. I'd have to ditch the blast doors and just kind of leave like open hole blocks here. And I did that. I played with that. I tried that scenario out, and I thought, especially when the launchers were, on, I really hated it. The tips of the launchers were sticking out of this area. It looked stupid. The light screwed all up too, where it didn't look right with the lights anymore because there's holes in the thing. And visually speaking, I just didn't think it looked very good. And I didn't want to really run it that way anyway. I was trying to keep all that stuff kind of concealed. And the same thing with these. These had to stick out a fair amount, so you'd kind of, especially when the launchers were out, you'd see them sticking out over here, and it looked very un-Star Trek-like. You just don't see that kind of thing in Star Trek. And I'm trying to hide all those elements in Empyrion that you want to see in Star Trek. And obviously, yeah, redesigning the whole neck and the hull and trying to make the elevator come back a bunch of blocks would have been a nightmare and a lot of work. So on this version, I fixed this problem, but I had to make a little bit of a sacrifice and change a couple things that I didn't really want to. But it's all around. It's safer now, because even if I were able to seal those launchers, they were still brutally close to the elevator. Again, you're the only elevator. If it were to take damage or that gets cut off, you couldn't get to the other part of the ship, which kind of a problem. So on this one, I had to bite the bullet. I had to remove all the launchers in that 1 block away from the center position, And I actually reduced the launchers here a little bit. And I had to cram them together, which I was also trying to avoid. The other had the part separation, which I wanted. This one I couldn't do it, but I got 6 now artillery launchers on either side over here, but they're further away. I can't put them in any of these positions over here, or I can't put them another position up either, because then it would wreck the trim. It couldn't shoot through this block here. It's very tight. It's very tight on the whole thing, and I like the blast doors in, especially when you get, you light it up with those holes in there. Just look bad, stuff like that. So that's what I ended up doing, and then the top ones, I also had to move the center ones one spot away from the center, and then dump them over here. I managed to keep these all under blast doors yet, so I'm okay with that. And everything kind of, you don't see any, even when they're on, you don't see any like launchers sticking out of the hull of the ship and stuff like that. So it did fix the problem, and now the zone is oxygenated. The elevator is safer. But I had to make those sacrifices. I had to put some guns together that I was trying to do block separation for, and I really just could not come up with any other solutions for this problem. And I probably spent 4 hours trying to figure out what to do. And I tried things. I started building like a new elevator, thinking I was going to do that, until I realized, oh my God, that's going to be horrible. And then I tried moving the launchers forward, or I tried doing a little bit of both, and everything just was failing. It just was not working. I was just banging my head against the wall trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do to fix this problem. And at the end of the day, it all came down to, well, it was kind of weak anyway, but you can't have your central elevator not have O2, and no way to give it O2. So that was a problem, and then I was able to fix that. And then actually it's this room here, which is set up to provide oxygen to the elevator. So it's kind of like a dual purpose ventilator here. And all the other rooms will be on their own oxygen environment, but I usually like to link the elevator to some room in the ship somewhere. So the elevator doesn't need to have a ventilator per se in it. And that's usually the way I like to go. So yeah, and that's kind of what's going on with the ship right now. Now, just to show you the changes. Now, I have not started the saucer, and I've got obviously a couple other rooms to do in the ship here too, in other places. But with the not having to have all those capacitor or the shield components up here, I still have to place a warp core, and I still have to place a shield. So I do have to get some things up in here. I'm looking at putting a gravity generator elsewhere as well, so that shouldn't have to be up here either. And especially if you spend a lot of time on here, I really hate just sitting and hearing a gravity generator the whole time when you're doing stuff. That sound all the time. So I've been kind of learning. I kind of like to put the gravity generators a little bit away from like where you're going to be hanging out probably the most in the ship. So this area here, which is above this room down here, is kind of the start of where the secure bridge is going to go. And there's some Xeno and some at least hardened steel blocks. I'll figure out materials later. I was just trying to get a layout. And then I'm still kind of built up along the front of this. I want to, basically there's going to be kind of a shell of an area here. And I also got to think about like where all the CPU cores and stuff are going yet. So that's another thing I'm going to have to figure out. But if you take a look at the overall size inside of here, and I did strip out most of the solar panels right now temporarily, it's a little bigger. It's a little bigger. I got a little more space to work with. I also cut the farm out of here in this area. It's possible it very well could have a farm something or other somewhere, but I don't think I'm going to put it in the middle here. I may try to make this more bridge, Star Trek bridge-like, even though you would actually pilot the ship in first-person view up here. So it's basically from beyond the shield and potentially, again, I don't know what the CPU cores are going to go quite yet in the main core, but I'm going to try to have like 2 decks, or maybe it'll be like a 2-story deck in here or something like that, and I'll have a little bit more room to work with all the way around. And a lot of times when you're going through and you're doing a lot of this, I got a lot of these just full blocks placed here. Obviously, I'll be manipulating a lot of these blocks, and a lot of times that makes the space appear quite a bit bigger. Too. Like this room that was down here was like one of the this was like one of the worst locations to build anything in the ship. It was horrible. I had Xeno stuff all over the place. Let me go back 2 iterations and I'll show you what this room looked like this. So that's what it turned into. So yeah, it can be done with a lot of messing around. And I'm just trying to go room by room by room. But I started to think about it, and I was like, well, let's start placing these shield parts up in the saucer. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I got other space in this ship. Let's really try to work those areas, see what I can get into them before I go to the saucer. We'll save the saucer for last, the last part of the interior to do. So now basically, yes, I have the saucer to do. This area is kind of like done up over here, sort of LCDs. The hangar is kind of done up, sort of probably some LCDs. Yeah, this year I got where did it go? Oh, this is the wrong ship. Wrong variant here, or revision, not variant, revision. So yeah, and this one, obviously, when you walk in here, you've seen what it looked like on the other ship. It was like walled off, and now there's room in here, like kind of awkward room, but there's still room, still enough to put some parts and things. Another thing I had to do, and the very last part I just wanted to show you before I kind of move on here, is to, nope, don't worry, again, core's not going. This room, no, I'm lost. Man, I got like 2 rooms in this ship and I'm getting lost. You know how bad I am with other people's creations? It's ridiculous. Okay, so in this area, notably speaking, the hallway ended here, right? And there was a wall here, but now with the change around of the turrets, I put in a thing. I don't know what it is, but I thought it looked kind of cool. And it was, I mean, again, some pretty nasty space up here to work with. And so now this actually wraps around and you can walk around all the way back into this area of the ship that way. So I had to redesign this room after fixing the turrets, and then I had to fix the other rooms involved, which lost a little bit of Xeno, so I was able to do a little bit more block work on the ceiling of this room. I don't like my placement of my the O2 thingy there. A little too choppy, so I might mess with that, maybe get some lines on here or something. So I'm not quite done with this, but I was just trying to fix it all before the video, because it was one of the last things I did last night. After already working on this for 8 hours is when I ran into that problem of realizing I had a fundamental flaw issue in the ship with the elevator, the main central elevator on it. And I got to do something with this little block thingy here too. I've got this one angle here that's just not jiving very good. I think I can, I think there's a block that'll fit there and smooth that off. So I'll try to do that too. It's all about smooth. Everything's about smooth, mostly. And anything that's too unsmooth, I'm keep on reviewing. That's all I got to say. And in some cases like this isn't smooth, but I did that on purpose to make it look like there's some kind of connection support there, something like that. But that is where it's at now. All these iterations, and yeah, this is a pretty good, pretty lengthy project. I'm really excited about it though, and like every time I get a chance, I'm trying to work on it some more. And once I get, I don't know how much time I get to work on it today. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I can do like another room area. Maybe get that bottom area done, and then after that will almost complete the lower section and the neck, and then it's just the saucer, which has more room in it for sure. But yeah, that could be kind of fun. I do have to, still put in some real parts in there and stuff like that. And I still wanted to do the crew room idea along the edges of the saucer, but make them dual purpose, so they'll, like, each room or room area will be designed to fit a solar panel or 2 or large solar panels in there as well. So it doesn't have to come with stock with the solar panels. You can pop those in. I'll definitely leave it in like the info thing on the ship. That's an option, but it's an option I want for gameplay in Reforge Eden. So no solar would kind of suck, and I absolutely do not want to put solar panels on the exterior of the ship. Now, there were some suggestions that maybe I could put some solar panels on the nacelles, and it might not look so bad, but nah. I slapped one in place once just to take a look at it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to change the nacelles and dump like some solar panels there. So I'll try to keep them on the inside so you just never see them. I mean, obviously, these things, the actual ships in the shows, they're not solar powered. They are not solar powered. It would just seem really weird to have solar panels on one of these. So visible at least. So that is where I'm at. I just wanted to get a quick update video. Well, maybe it's not that quick, but update video explaining these iterations and that problem I ran into that was kind of a real pain in the butt to fix. And I was kind of like really nervous about it for a couple hours. In fact, I was going to stop working on it yesterday about 8, 9 o'clock at night. And then I walked away for a little bit, and I'm like, it was on my mind. It was bugging me. It was bugging me to death. So I jumped back on at like 9:30 and worked on it for like another 3 hours. So that's been my life this week. Imperium, and more Imperium. So it's fun though, and I do this because I like it, not because I'm forced to or trying to make some kind of business out of it, which I'm not. The YouTube videos I do, I mean, this doesn't make much of anything, so I never really care too much about that. It's just great community. I love building, love seeing other people's creations, love seeing the collective ingenuity of everybody. When I look at other people's creations, I get ideas. I might not use those ideas like right away, but a few builds later, I'll have this memory of like, oh, you remember how that was done on this one thing, and then basically add it to your tool set of things that you could consider, when you're working on some other creation, maybe something that could fit and work well, or a variation of it in your own creation, So anyway, that's it for today. And again, you guys all have yourself a great weekend, and I will talk to you later.